we've got this A chord here. There's the standard A. If we want to turn this into, this is a G shape as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I could put those notes on there. There's the rest of the G shape. Yeah, do you see what's going on there? Putting those two on there, that fleshes out the rest of the shape, but you can't pick and strum if you're holding those two fingers on there as well. So really what we're doing is we're just playing the A, D, G and B string there, and I get this chord shape here. Not playing the E string and not playing the other E string as well. That's an A-shaped A, but I'm thinking of this as being a G-shaped. Can you see the G shape there? If I get rid of the bar and I put my capo on. Now I get rid of that. Okay? But that is essentially a different way to get to that first inversion. So we've got this A shape here. Now, just because we know that chords move like notes, yeah? That's an A, okay? I'm just going to use my first finger to hold down those three notes. I'm holding down the fifth, root, and the third, the 5/R3 chord. There. Just because chords move like notes, that's an A. So if I move it up a whole step, that's going to be a B. But look, if I turn that A shape there, instead of just having three notes there, I can bang that ring finger on. I'm arched over. I'm holding that little partial bar down there. If you find that tricky, then what you can do is, you notice my thumb. Get my thumb over the top. So do that there. It's whatever's comfy for your hands as well. Right? That's a B. Now if I move it up here, I'm going to get a C here. There's a D. Look at that. I'll just move up the chords. A, B, C, D. Apply that shape there. Put that shape on there. Now I'm going to move it to the destination chord for the lesson, which was this E at the 9th fret. Now here's the cool thing. What I like about this, and this is why it works wonderfully, is because we can add more depth to the chord. What we do is we add the thick E string in there as well, because if you think about it, if I put these two fingers on here, and where's my capo? Let me put my capo there. Look, I'm holding down the bar of the A shape there. I'm going to put my capo on there so I can clearly demonstrate the chord. So you see, that's where the G shape should live. Yeah, that's where it normally lives. But remember, all we're doing is we're putting that extra note on in there, right? And that gives us that first inversion there. But because I'm not having to hold that note down there with my pinky, it's at the 12th fret. Now, if we know anything about the 12th fret, what's significant about the 12th fret is if that's an E down here, then it's going to be an E up here at the 12th fret, because this is where the fretboard begins again. So we've got all these 12 frets, then we've got the dusty end as well, which is just a repeat of the first 12 frets, okay? This goes to 22 frets, this goes to 22 frets. If you've got a 24 fret guitar, chances are you'll have double dots on fret 24. And that's telling you that the octave is beginning again. And because that's the case, it means I do not need to hold that note down, but I can put it in now. There, so now I can hold that there. Yeah? So that is the E, that's an E major chord using this G shape in its first inversion form. Let me say that again. It is an E major chord using a G shape in first inversion. This is the third in the bass here. But really what I've done, if I'm actually honest about it, I'm thinking of that shape as being that first inversion, but when I put that root in, it becomes a root position chord, in all honesty. It's just that the root is down there. Look at that. So if you can add that sound in there, it's brilliant. And that's a wonderful way to play an E, right? And you can bridge down to there with it. There are other E chords in between that you can go to if you want to. Now, because this is a major chord, so that's my root note. That's also the root note for my pentatonic scale. Yeah, so look, if I start from there, that's actually my major pentatonic. You know the major pentatonic sound, you should have it in your head locked and loaded because it is the riff from My Girl. Yeah, so you got that there. Now if I just carry that on, yeah. Now some of you might be thinking, well, if you start on your first finger, you get box 1 of your minor. So that's telling you what your relative minor is, and that's also the root note for chord 6. Because it's chord 6, you can see it as being a minor as well there, look. Look how close that is to that. There's E, there's C sharp minor. I think it's a really useful one, seeing where your shapes are. But what's convenient about this is we have a lovely open E drone note. Okay, so we've got that, yeah? We have a chord, but we have a scale that sits in the same position. So what you can do is you can play chords. You can play the bass note, just keep refreshing that E string just to keep that tonal reference, that tonal center. Now what's cool about this shape is, if you can get this might be comfier for you than bar chords. If you're playing an E bar chord like with an A shape there, and what I like about this is switching between these two. I've got this, like I say, this is the intersect between the A shape and the G shape, yeah? Which I'm thinking as that. What's nice is to kind of create this swooping effect on that A string. When you move from the A shape that's very straight sounding. I think that's very kind of solid, dependable major sound, but when you do that inversion, it just sounds a little bit more lush, a bit lovelier. Now, because we've got this scale underneath, yeah, then what we want to do is we want to utilize it as well. So we have this chord as a north star to help us to understand where we are, yeah? But what we're going to do is we're going to implement the thing that I think that is the biggest takeaway that Jimi Hendrix took from Curtis Mayfield. If you listen to Curtis Mayfield, you'll hear it. It's that soulful sort of strumming idea. It's hammer-on double stops. So what we're doing is we're taking 2 of the notes from the scale. These just happen to be at the 9th fret. So I'm going to use the 9th fret on the A string and the 9th fret on the D string there, and I'm barring across. And then I'm going to hammer that 3rd finger on that same spot where it was going to go for the G shape here that we have, this new chord shape. Yeah. So I like doing that thing there, going from the 2nd to the major 3rd, and then playing that E chord there. But what we can do is we can hold that double stop there and hammer on the upper string. So the double stop is holding 2 notes down, but it isn't the lower note we're hammering on to. We're hammering on to the more bass notes. So this is more treble, this is the bass note. Now it's a subtle little movement. So you play the double stop like you would do a power chord, and then hammer on with that 3rd finger. But the beautiful thing about the box 1 pattern is that all your notes are in the row here. You've got a full row of notes across the fret. We want to utilize that. So it means we can double stop on the A and the D string there. And we can do it on the D and the G string as well. And it's exactly the same fingering. Now, when we get to this part of the scale, I do think that this can sound a bit off because going from the G to the B string, the tuning has changed on the guitar. So that becomes a major 3rd. So when we're doing that double stop, it it can sound a bit off. So what we could do is we can compensate for that by turning it into a major third. It's a little bit trickier as this one, but what you're doing is you're holding down, it looks like partly like a D shape, doesn't it? If you imagine a D shape like that. Then when we've got that way, then we're going to hammer on the scale note here as well. Now what I like about this, it moves up a whole step, does that idea there. Yeah, we can even get it there. So it will work, this idea. Now it will work as well when we extend that pentatonic, because remember, the pentatonic pattern looks like this. Okay. Sorry, that's using the fourth going across there, actually. Yep, so we turn that into a fourth. But like I said here, we've got that going on there, right? But what I like is, and if you've seen the lesson I did on extending your pentatonic, for me, the most important part of extending your pentatonic first, as a beginner, is just to take this little... The House of Blues lives here. Yeah, but look, we get this little rectangle here. And because we get a little rectangle, we've got the fourth, and we can hammer on. We can also do it below. Yeah. Move that down a whole step from the pentatonic. So where that lives, yeah, those positions there. Now you can use that double stop idea, these fourths here, kind of a nice sound as well. And Hendrix, I'm sure, he used that. Now what I want to do is I want to turn my attention, instead of just thinking of it as just a single chord in E, I want to think of this as like, okay, well, I'm playing in E now. Yeah? Because this pentatonic is dictating that. Yeah? So I've got that there. So I'm going to think, right, okay, well, what other chords do I need for a key of E? And then the most obvious ones for me are going to be the 1, which this one is, the 4 and the 5.